Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Reva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanitrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Namo Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 31st of March 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to the one singular Parabrahma Paramatma, existing everywhere, residing in the heart of all beings. With that bhavana, we are continuing our exploration, at least for the next day or so, on verse number 39, chapter number 4. The verse is as follows. This is from the Gita. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparaha sanyatendriyaha jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. As we have stated before, that the Bhagavad Gita is paravidya. It is giving us this extraordinary wisdom of how to realize the supreme or transcendental peace that is called para shanti or param shanti, param shanti. It is a profound inner tranquility that is central to Vedanta and to yoga. There is the dissolving of avidya that results in this very stable, sustaining equilibrium beyond ordinary emotional fluctuations. There are all kinds of fluctuations that are happening, but this is beyond all of those flux states, emotional fluctuations, mental fluctuations that are in our lives from time to time, again and again and again. Param Shantim, meaning that great Parashanti, that extraordinary peace, is beyond all of these fluctuations and disturbances. It is a state of self-sustaining equilibrium. See this point. Self-sustaining equilibrium. Sometimes we do realize equilibrium from time to time. We have some equilibrium in life, no doubt. We get glimpses of it. But this is self-sustaining equilibrium. So self-sustaining equilibrium is where there is great realization of the natural state that we have. Our natural state is self-sustaining. Okay, so we're continuing here. Self-sustaining equilibrium is beyond the ordinary emotional or mental fluctuations. So equilibrium means that there is a natural balancing that just remains. It's self-sustaining. Equilibrium means natural balancing. Self-sustaining means that the realization of jnanam, meaning the realization that I am Atman, I am not these three bodies, that realization naturally brings equilibrium. That's what that means. And that is param shanti. So again, the point here simply is that our brain, our mind, our system from within is fundamentally transformed, as we have said before, and it allows us to realize extraordinary states of life. You see, one could be alone in a jungle or in a park and be completely fulfilled. One could be with many, many people, 10, 15, 20, 50 people. The same fulfillment is there. You see, that is what is the state of the yogi. The yogi is fulfilled from inside. That is a state of Jnana and Vijnana, wherever one may be. वो ज्ञान की स्थिति है. So one sees beyond the flux of Maya. And in that state, one is able to move through hour by hour, day by day, by realizing that there is a further and further connection with higher truth. At the same time, there is great shanti. So shanti means that the mind is very steady. There is not the experience of any kind of agitation inside. And param shanti means that kind of param shanti which is beyond all fluctuations. We get glimpses of the mind becoming silent from time to time. But this is param shantim. Achirenadi gacchati, shraddhavan labate gnanam tatparah sanyatendriyaha gnanam labdva param shantim. Param shanti means that extraordinary shanti that is not within the realm of the mind. The mind is always fluctuating and moving and doing whatever it's doing, its activity. Yes, of course, the activity of thought and emotion, these things continue. They are going to continue. But the fact of the matter is that there is no delay. Achirenadi means swift. It means quick, without delay. There is a transcendence into that extraordinary state of param shanti. It is a rapid spiritual evolution. That is the link that Shraddha leads to Jnana, that Jnana leads to this param shantim. Param shantim, Shraddhavan labate Jnanam tatprah sanyate indriyaha. That the indriyas antakarana become absolutely still. And in that stillness and steadiness and wisdom and truth and grace, there is just param shantim. And the experiences of life continue. But one is not caught in them. One is not caught inside any experience. Like we're watching something on TV, we watch a movie, have a conversation with somebody, go for a walk or whatever we are doing in our day-to-day life, work somewhere, we are not caught in the experience. We are always liberated in the experience while the experience is going on. So that is called achirenadi gacchati. That achirena means that there is the very, very good development, rapid development, where there is the regulation of the senses and there is a wonderful, wonderful movement into this param shanti. That is how this verse is telling us. It is a quantum change, radical personal transformation leading to lasting behavioral and cognitive alterations. There can be and there are intense euphoric and peak experiences. Peak experiences come and go. These are ecstatic experiences. This is what we call rasik bhav. In the rasa, when you're doing bhajan kirtan and there's absorption in the form of God, there is the rasa from inside that opens. It's a peak experience and then it comes back down again. All that happens. So all the traumas from the system disappear. But param shantim is not a fluctuating experience. It is beyond all the fluctuations. This is what this is all about. This is a beautiful verse. We've been talking about it for a while. There's just one or two more quick points before we move into back into the Upanishad, etc. There is, of course, the interplay of the cognitive, emotional, behavioral, spiritual dimensions. Everything is together. The cognition, emotion, behavior, everything comes together in this through Shraddha. Shraddha is the base. How Shraddha develops. So again, it's a very extensive analysis based on understanding it. But it really has to do with Shraddha, that the words of the Bhagavad Gita are absolutely correct. The form of Sri Krishna Bhagavan with Radha ji is absolutely divya. Wo Bhagavan hai. That understanding has to come and that Shraddha can come. Just like in Christianity, when they say that faith in Jesus, that total faith in Jesus, that is Shraddha. Those who have total faith in the Guru Granth Sahib, in Sikhism, that is Shraddha. Those who have faith in the Buddha's teachings, that is Shraddha. The Jewish people have faith in the Hebrew Bible, that is Shraddha. The Muslims have faith in the Quran, tremendous faith in the Quran, that is called Shraddha. Shraddha is functioning everywhere in all dimensions. We have Shraddha even in the scientific texts and scientific knowledge and all of that. Biology texts and psychology texts and engineering texts. We have Shraddha in them also. but they are experimental. We can experiment with them. We can see, is it true? That is what the Sanatan Dharma is teaching. You may have Shraddha, but you have to go into Labhate Jnanam, that understand what the Shraddha is leading towards, experiment with it, try it out, see where it leads one. Is it leading to Jnana? Is it leading to this Param Shanti? That is the test if that Shraddha is in the right direction or not. You could have Shraddha in something that is false also. And that is also a possibility. Not all Shraddha leads to the same place. So that point should also be clear. Just one or two very quick points. Again, this is just more from a more therapeutic point of view. There's all kinds of psychotherapy and counseling techniques, dialectical behavior therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy. These therapies are used by psychotherapists and counselors to try to bring about this internal synchronicity that is called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy in a more therapeutic sense, if someone has gone through different traumas and problems and things like that. Self-efficacy and resilience means the capacity to succeed in what one is doing. This is an important quality in sadhana also. If someone is saying that I want to do my sadhana towards my Ishtadevata, then I have to have self-efficacy, that I have belief in the path, the mantra sadhana, the scripturals, the scriptural understanding, the various gurus that have taught the path, things like that. That is called self-efficacy, and the capacity to quickly recover from difficulties in life in general and the spiritual path also. That is called resilience. So resilience and self-efficacy are both that are enhanced by Shraddha. That is the more psychological way to understand this. And at the same time, from a more therapeutic technique point of view, like for therapists and counselors, techniques that are shown in acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, these focus on incorporating elements from scriptural texts that can be used in a very effective way for personal growth, holistic vision, things like that. So these ideas are very profound. Profound in what sense? That they take some time to understand. But once they're understood, they are extremely powerful. It's a kind of internal therapy. When one has Shraddha, full faith in God, you're latching on with Shraddha, all the tension disappears, all the fear disappears. This is one of the biggest important things in the Sanatan Dharma. All of our jo sab Bhagwan ke jo sab swarup hai, they're giving Ashirwad with the right hand, sometimes with the left hand, but usually with the right hand. Almost always with the right hand. It doesn't matter which hand it is. It was Ashirwad hi hai. But why is that? That is Abhaya Mudra. That Abhayam, that the fear that is inside our system, it has to completely disappear. And it disappears through Shraddha, faith, sadhana, bhajan, bhakti. Isme se sab bhay nikal jata hai. And that happens when we latch on 100% with determination, with conviction, with Shraddha, that this is Satya, ye Satya Tattva hai. For example, we say Bhagwan Shankar. Well, Bhagwan Shankar is not some imaginary thing. It through satsanga, through scriptures, through mantras, etc., one is convinced that this is real. It is not just imagination or my imagination. That conviction is there, and then from that, the Shraddha comes. From that Shraddha, sadhana comes. From that sadhana, that great vision opens up. That the sadhana is giving me good anubhav in life. शांति तो मिलती है और भगवत अनुभव मिलता है. और इसमें से क्या होता है? इसमें से भगवान का दर्शन होता है, आत्मा का दर्शन होता है. एंड देन फ्रॉम देयर आत्मा का साक्षात्कार होता है, भगवान का साक्षात्कार होता है. And then from that sakshatkar, one lives in that state of sakshatkar while living in the same world, come back to the same world again. But now it is seen in a completely new light. For example, someone who has gotten a PhD in chemistry now sees the same natural world in a completely new light. That person was in 5th grade before, 7th grade before, 10th grade before. They were growing and developing, but the vision keeps expanding. And once they become a doctoral, postdoctoral person, they begin to see, my God, the same rocks and trees, and I'm seeing biochemical reactions, and see, sab drishti ke change ho jati hai. ठीक है ना? When you get a PhD in a particular area, master's or doctoral program, vision opens up. Like in botany, somebody becomes a PhD botanist, the whole plant structure and everything changes as opposed to when that person was 7 or 8 years old. Similarly, when the Jnanam comes, the Vijnana comes, the vision of the sansar changes into Brahman. यही अद्भुत दृष्टि में फर्क हो जाता है. The vision changes, to that point where भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा क्या सुंदर बात करते हैं कि मैं ही सब जगह हूँ. ऐसी दृष्टि आ जाती है, ऐसा विजन आ जाता है, ऐसी एक पवित्रता आ जाती है, ऐसी एक दिव्यता आ जाती है, ऐसा एक प्रेम आ जाता है, ऐसी एक दृष्टि आ जाती है कि सब जगह मेरा प्रभु है. जहाँ जुए त्या राम जी बिजू न भासे रे, भात देखी भूले नहीं अनुभव उजासे रे. ठीक है, सिया राम में सब जग जानी, करुहु प्रणाम जोरी जुगपानी. तुलसीदास जी भी कहते हैं, भगवत गीता में भी लिखा है कि जो आत्म तत्व है, ब्रह्म तत्व है, समदृष्टि हो जाती है. यू कैन सी अ प्लांट, सी अ ट्री एन एनिमल, सब में वो सब आत्म तत्व दिखता है. ऐसी सब अलौकिक दृष्टि है, ये संत की महान दृष्टि है. ये सब भगवत गीता वर्स नंबर 39 का सारांश है. So I want to move out of this further. I mean, you cannot move out of it, but move back into the Upanishad, then go into the Vivek Chudamani again. Otherwise, we'll never come out of this. See, that's the power. Bhagwan ki Upanishad mein kya likha hai? Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Ek shabda, just like Shraddha. You could spend years analyzing the dynamics of what is Shraddha, but we don't have that much time. We are doing it in short period of time. ऐसा feeling hota hai, we just want to keep going with this and going with this. There's thousands of dimensions to understand, but most importantly, anubhav mein jao. Anubhav karo. It's not the quantity of information, it is the quality of the anubhav that is of every single significance rather than just information, right? That is the whole point about the transition from information to Gnan to Vignan, into this divine vision, Divya Drishti. Or just one final point, जीवन कैसा बन जाता है? महा आनंद, दिव्य आनंद, ब्रह्मानंद, अखंड आनंद, प्रेमानंद. Or we live in the practical world, doing the practical things that are needed, but with a completely new vision. Divya drishti se हम सब क्रिया कर सकते हैं. Like Bhagwan Krishna did that, Bhagwan Ramchandra ji did that, all the incarnations did that. Everybody has done that. All the great sages have done that. They have lived in the same world that we're living in, but they are living with a completely new vision, different vision, in an enlightened state. So with that, we'll stop here for today, and we'll definitely move now to further back into the Mandukya Upanishad. I want to cover that actually. And then go back then into the Vivek Chudamani. So, Om Dhyanamulam Guru Rumurti Mantramulam Guru Urvakyam Pujamulam Guru Urpadam Mokshamulam Guru Urkrupa Tameva Mata Chipita Tameva Bandusha Saka Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Divilingaya Nama Urdhvalingaya Nama Anandalingaya Nama Dvadas Jyotirlingaya Namo Namaha Om Trambakam Yajame Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshayam Amritat Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaya Viche Om Durge Rakshini Thata Swaha Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu.